Yo, what's good, YouTube? We're in for another reaction. Tune in, lock in, and let's get straight to the video.
Look, I'm gonna be the one to say it. Just because you have one good conversation with your homies, that does not mean that you need to start a podcast. I'm tired of dudes talking.
No cap. No cap. You cannot tell me how many times I've had my friend. Well, okay. Maybe not in this situation, but me and my friend have been thinking about starting a podcast, but we've had more than one good ass conversation to warrant this reason. I'm not gonna lie.
Talking about aliens once, then thinking that they have the right to buy a Shure SM7B from Best Buy. Now they got a podcast called Alien Talks that's just uninteresting and dry. The host sucks, the friends suck, and even the podcast name sucks. You're not the next Joe Rogan, bro. Put the mic down and put the fries.
Joe Rogan is probably the only acceptable podcast I'll ever listen to. I'm not gonna lie, because Joe Rogan actually be talking about shit that is interesting. He has good people on there, and did I forget to mention he talks about interesting things? Like one podcast he was talking about bees, and I was like, what the hell? Like, but it was actually kind of informational and interesting. Y'all gotta go check him out. Shout out to him.
In the bag. Someone's got to say it. Remember that one relative that told you that you weren't making it to the NBA when you were like 5 years old? Just think of me as that. Hey, everyone needs a little bit of tough love in their life. Not everyone can be nice in this world. And I'm gonna be the boogeyman here saying how your podcast sucks and your friends are boring. Maybe you should think twice before you take that trip to Best Buy. See, the problem is that this world is way too nice now. And now we have podcast clips of dudes talking about how they want their mothers to have good sexual experience.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. People like that, go ahead and get them out of here, coach. We don't need them.
Because I love my mom. I want her to come. I don't know if this is weird to say, but I want my mom to have flawless experiences.
How do you not know if that's
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Lock these niggas up, bro. First off, like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all niggas weird, bro.
weird to say? Like, oh my gosh, I want my mom to have great sexual experience. That is weird.
I want you to have that.
Yeah,
too.
and I want you to have that as well.
So it's like,
Is that weird to
it's
say?
really like,
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. These be the type of niggas that will want to have sex with their friend's mom. Keep these niggas away from me, bro. Couldn't have them around. Yeah.
genuinely want my mom to be getting down good.
I'm gonna give you some tough love right here. You know, this is gonna be the toughest love that you've ever felt. This love is gonna be tougher than a well done steak. You need to stop podcasting, bro. I'm sorry. Never in my life have I ever thought about my mom having good sexual experiences. Y'all are just odd human beings. What even sparks this conversation? Like, how do you even get to this point? And why was this video even uploaded to the masses, bro? We need to start telling people no more often. You know what, man? I'm thinking about starting a podcast. No, bro, put the mic down. At this point, it needs to be easier to buy an RPG from a gun store than it is to buy a microphone from Best Buy. Because I promise you, if there were background checks for mics, we would be nowhere near this point. It feels like
I forgot also the Speakeasy podcast from Berleezy. They're also the only acceptable podcast I'll listen to. Joe Rogan and the Speakeasies were Berleezy, Joe, and PG, and they'll sometimes have a guest. Last time I saw the video, they had Mark Phillips from RDC.
everyone has a podcast nowadays. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. NBA players, rappers, children. The Hawk Tua girl just started a podcast called Talk Tua. Don't get me wrong, shout out to her for running up a bag off that one phrase, you know? I saw that she got 30K for popping out to a club a few weeks ago. Like, kudos to her, you know? I'ma clap it up for her. But why would I?
The question is, what does she do? She literally does nothing. I would never entertain myself listening to her trash podcast, but my point is, what does she do on her podcast? What does she talk about? I've not heard not one person ever talk about her podcast, nor have I heard anything about her podcast. NBA players is a little bit more acceptable, but sometimes y'all just need to stop talking and get your basketball skills up. Rappers, yeah, I can give a little leeway with rappers.
I want to hear that woman speak for 2 hours straight each week about current events in her life. I mean, for crying out loud, she got famous for talking about how she spits on the pee-pee. Why am I supposed to care about what this woman has to say? Does she really need a podcast for saying "Hawk to" and
Spit on that thing, you get me?
the world could go without a podcast from this woman? You know what? Maybe I'm just hating, you know? Maybe, why don't I just check out one episode?
Can't do it as good as
Do
Amy.
it.
You do it.
No, you do it.
Hot to.
There you go.
You gotta put like an emphasis on it, like tuh. You know, like tuh. Yeah. Say it. All right, all together.
Hot to.
Yeah, wrap this up, bro. Go ahead, put fries in the bag, bro.
Say it
We'll see you at
aggressive, like
McDonald's, though.
Hot
really.
to.
Yeah, go ahead,
After
put
watching
fries
one
in the bag, bro.
episode
Go ahead, put fries in the bag. Go ahead, give me my large Sprite. Go ahead and get my quarter pounder with extra cheese on it with pickles, and we're gonna get that McFlurry too. We're gonna see you next time though.
Of the Talk to a podcast, I wanted to announce that I am quitting YouTube and becoming a full-time neurosurgeon, astronaut, and monk, all because of this podcast. This is one of the most enlightening podcasts that
Because at this point, you know what I'm saying? If she can make a podcast, I can make a podcast. And I could just be talking about who knows, God knows what. I'm not gonna lie, I got stuff I really could talk about. But y'all not ready for it yet. No cap.
I have ever watched, and I just wanted to say thank you, Hawk Tuah Girl, for opening my third eye and helping me evolve as a human being with your phenomenal podcast. I really appreciate you. All jokes aside, no hate to her. She's just capitalizing off her opportunity like any other human being would in her position. But overall, I just don't think there's anything really interesting about this woman that sets her apart from all these other podcasts.
Then she scammed y'all niggas for a type of a Bitcoin. Y'all niggas trash, I'm not gonna lie.
Out there. Yeah, she may be able to get some great guests on there because the podcast is connected to Better, which is a sports media company co-owned by Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, like, the guests can only carry her so far, you know? Like I said, there's not much interesting about this woman. She got famous for saying how she spits on the nutsack, you feel me? But like I said, she's just capitalizing off of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Podcasts, after all, aren't the hardest thing to do. Podcasting is one of those things that I believe is easy to start, but hard to master. The bare minimum is to get a few mics, sit down with some friends, record, chat for a little bit, and boom, you got a podcast. Like, it's not that hard. And if you already have an audience, it makes creating a podcast even easier. Because if the audience you've garnered cares to watch you for like maybe a few seconds or a few minutes each day, they'll for sure listen to you talk for about 2 hours each week. So it makes sense to why so many people are starting podcasts nowadays. But like the title says, not everyone needs one. While some of them are good, some just feel like people talking just to talk. Like, I wouldn't even call some people's podcast a podcast. I'd rather call it mic terrorism. The other day, I saw a podcast clip of two dudes talking about lefty loosey, righty tighty being the greatest invention of all time.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty is the craziest invention of man. I use that all the time. The saying lefty loosey, righty tighty. We just got a new machine.
Okay. Y'all really want to listen to him talk and yap for 2 hours, bro? Look at him. Look at it. Look at his nose. First off, he ain't got nothing interesting to talk about. Look how he wears his hat. This man has nothing interesting to talk about, and you will gain no type of new knowledge from this man at all. This nigga's talking about how you screw something in by going left or right. Shit that you can look up online, bro. It'll take you 2 seconds. Nobody's watching this nigga, bro.
It's like it's called an articulating log loader.
Yeah,
And
what?
It sounds like my toilet paper.
Yeah.
There's forks like this that picks up a log and then it can open and close on it, and the left button opens it and the right button closes it. And I literally say to myself, I'm like, lefty loosey, righty tighty when I need to let go or grab on. It's the lefty loosey. I might get that tattooed on myself.
Like, no offense to these two dudes at all, because they're probably great people. I could probably sit down, chop it up with them, eat a steak, and just vibe out with these dudes. But there's got to be something way more interesting to talk about than a saying used for when you're screwing something in. Like, what's next? Are we going to talk about bunny ears being the best method to tie your shoes? Or maybe even schist being the best rock there is? This conversation just feels so bland and pointless. Like, if an alien were to imagine two human beings talking, I'm pretty sure it'd think of this AI generated ass convo right here. Like, this is the product of podcasts being so easy to start up. We now have dudes talking about screwing mechanisms as a topic of interest. Like, I don't think every conversation has to be important in a podcast, but there is no way that these dudes copped some premium podcast mics, got the setup and everything just to talk about lefty loosey, righty tighty. This podcast just has no meaning at all. It's just yip and yap going back and forth about nothing. I swear these podcasts just get worse and worse, bro. Like, there's just too many podcasts now, and what more is there really to talk about?
It's too many. That's exactly the point. Too many, too many podcasts, too many topics, not enough good people for said topics. Like I said, bro, Joe Rogan and Berlizzi, the only two. Now, trust and believe. If I was to start a podcast with my buddy, trust and believe you will gain information from that podcast. He has just been slacking. You know what I'm saying? I've been telling him, hey man, look, don't let time control you, control the time. So like, you say you're busy, okay, I understand that, but you still gotta try to make time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a whole assistant manager working 45 hours a week, but I still got time to go to the gym every single day, hang out with my friends, hang out with my girlfriend, do all this types of stuff, even though I work 45 hours a week. That's not the point. The point is, some of y'all that be making podcasts just need to go ahead, wrap it up, go ahead and apply for Burger King. You know what I'm saying? Give me my quarter pounder with cheese, and we can go ahead and call it a day. I'm not gonna lie, because some of y'all be talking about this. Some of y'all podcasts be talking about the exact same thing, but y'all just be saying it differently, and that's what makes it boring.
We gotta sit here and like just think for a second. What more is there really to talk about? Instead of having to get a degree for a job, people need to start getting a degree for a podcast. Like let's just be real. Like, is there really a need for a podcast where frat dudes talk about Hawk Tuah?
Bro, I don't know if you heard of the Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah.
Spit on that thing. Yeah.
Bro, that blew out of proportion. Like, I low-key think it got too big.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've seen the clip, but good.
These niggas sound I can't even sound. Damn, I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm gonna edit that out. I'm not gonna lie, bro. These guys, they sound like they don't know what they're talking about. Look at this nigga, bro. This man looks higher than a kite, bro. He's not even physically aware anymore. He's gone.
Good for her, I guess. I don't know.
No, like, it's everywhere. Dude, even at, like, Old Town, you'll hear Hawk Tuah remixes.
Really?
Yes.
Bro, I think it's crazy that you can like do one little thing and a clip can go viral and then all of a sudden the next day you're like a celebrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yo, this guy in the comment section even gets it. This man said podcast equipment should cost $1 billion. I totally agree. I'm not gonna lie, like, no offense to these dudes, probably some great people, but I'd rather drag my balls through the hot Sahara desert than listen to these frat dudes talk for 2 hours straight. You best believe I'm serving a life sentence before I listen to Jimmy and Tom from the Beta Theta Sigma frat talk on a podcast for 2 hours. Like, this podcast is just drier than a Popeye's biscuit. There is no energy at all to this conversation. And you may be thinking, like, bro, you can't judge off of just one clip of the podcast, you know? This is every clip.
What is your favorite frat?
I don't know. I like how big SAE's parties are and like
Yeah.
Lambda, but like I think ASIG just threw a really cool party. So
I
think-
heard, dude.
Yeah.
Kyle was just on it. He's an ASIG.
Yeah. It was a
That's
really
dope.
good party.
This podcast just sucks. This convo just sounds so
Go ahead and get back to class, bro. You ain't got nothing good to talk about. Go ahead and finish your degree, bro.
generic and bland. No energy at all. Just, what's your favorite frat? I like SAA. They're big. Oh my god, I heard Kyle's there. Like, get this off the airways, bruh. Like, what did Joe Budden say?
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
I genuinely wish I could
Yeah,
take
bro.
back the few seconds of my life I wasted watching that podcast clip, because now I just feel 10x dumber than what I was before. I feel like one of the keys to a great podcast is an entertaining host, because there's gonna be boring parts to a podcast, and it's up to the host to make that podcast interesting when it's getting dry. But the problem with this podcast is that the host has the personality of a raw chicken wing. So when he talks about boring
Unseasoned,
topics and
unfiltered, absolutely nothing, bro. Just straight meat and bones, bro. Meat and bones. Couldn't get no worse than that on me.
he's also boring, that just makes the podcast 10 times more boring. Another problem with everyone starting a podcast is that some people don't believe that they need to do proper research before they record. Like a little bit ago on Twitch, there was this streamer named Jason the Ween who hit 100,000 subscribers, you know? He was number 2 on Twitch for his amount of subscribers in that month. And then there was this shitty TikTok podcast called the 949 Podcast that decided to give their opinion on the whole situation. And no, they're not really knowledgeable when it comes to this whole streaming space. So this was their take.
Streaming is the new wave. It's
It
because
is.
Yeah.
it's just, but the thing is, it's the new wave because of clips.
Exactly.
Like Jason the Ween, guess how many live viewers he has? Just guess.
Depends on the time.
Just guess.
Like
You guys
5K?
guess. Well, how many live viewers do you think he got?
Like
This dude sounds boring.
I don't
all
like 3K?
3K. So like he's like a number 2, or I guess like, well, he has like around 15 to 20.
Oh. Oh
You know what
wow.
I'm saying?
That's
But
pretty
But the
good.
thing about it, like, that's not that good in terms of like views.
Did he just say 15K is not good in terms of views? Buddy, what are you talking about? You, like, alright, you got it.
That's true,
I feel
but
like it's
live,
good for
Live
live.
viewers,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's good for live, but think about the people in the world. It's only 15K.
15K, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Streaming is not like.
Bro thinks that he's supposed to get 2 billion views off of a video. What are you talking about? It's 7.8 billion people in this world, and you're saying, yeah, sure. If you're comparing 7.8 billion people to 15K, sure, that's not a lot. But if you narrow it down to the specific area he's in, say he's in the United States and most of his viewers are the United States, 15K viewers in that specific area is a lot. This nigga has no idea what he's talking about.
Like a mainstream thing
Big,
yet.
big,
It's only
yeah.
mainstream because of the clips that they put.
Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed is world renowned, but they still don't even have a billion like followers or subs. So everything he's saying literally makes no sense.
Out after,
Yeah,
which
right.
get millions and millions of views.
Right.
But no one's actually watching that shit live.
Yeah. No, literally, bro.
There's a few things that piss me off about this Dookie TikTok podcast. Number one, this man is saying streaming is only big because of clips. Yeah, because nobody's gonna sit there and watch an 8-hour stream front to back, you fucking idiot. So to make it more digestible for the average viewer, streamers and their audiences make clips so that more people can see their streams. What's so bad about that? Another thing this man says is 15K live viewers isn't good views because the clips get millions of views. That's how the internet works. And 15K is good because it puts him in the top 0.1% of streamers. Like, why is it surprising that a live stream has less views than a TikTok video? Are we becoming this slow in society?
Like you also gotta realize, what do people want more? A 30-second video or an 8-hour video? People are gonna choose that 30-second funny ass video over that entire 8-hour video. That's just how it works. That's why clips do much better than an actual video. It's just, I mean, it's science. It's literally what it is.
Where we can't comprehend that a live stream that you have to watch live has less views than a video where you can watch whenever. This dude knows nothing about what he's talking about. He's just saying a hot take because he has a mic in his face with the cameras on. This podcast just sounds like one huge gossip session. That's the problem with a lot of these podcasts. Some of them are
Every single podcast example he's shown, they sound uninterested, boring, and the guests they have on there sound really dumb and stupid. I'm not gonna lie, and that's me putting it in the nicest way possible. I can't hold you.
are just gossip sessions. Another situation of a podcast host not knowing what they're talking about is this one right here. So a little bit ago, there's a situation with Kai Cenat, right? He had a cameraman that was talking to an underage girl, and this podcast decided to put out their take on it because, hey, it was a fresh topic. Why don't we say something about it, you know? Why don't we do it for the clicks and engagement? And this is what they had to say.
Kai Cenat, everybody can't go.
And
You need to start looking around. And I know, like, black people specifically, when you get some success, you want to bring everybody with you. But you got to be able to kind of weed that shit out.
Let me get success, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all better say goodbye. Y'all not hear from me again. I'm not gonna lie. Certain people, you wouldn't even know. You would think I'm still living in the trenches. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'll be in my mansion in Bel Air. No cap.
I should have known who Chris V is. I should have known who Chris Next Door is.
But Chris Next Door is literally an AMP member. What do you mean that you shouldn't know who he is?
I should know who Kai Cenat is because you are the driving force in it. But them I shouldn't even know who they are.
I think it's important to highlight that Chris.
That's a fire shirt. I'm not gonna lie. It is a literal. They are a literal group that live together. Kai Cenat, AMP, Kai Cenat, this guy, Chris, Phantom, Duke Dennis, Agent, all them niggas. They're in a group. That's like saying you like RDC, but Mark Phillips should be the only one I see. I shouldn't be seeing Desmond. I shouldn't be seeing Leland. I shouldn't be seeing Av. I shouldn't be seeing Ben. I shouldn't be seeing John. And I think that's it. But that's basically what he's saying. That's like saying that, which is blasphemy in my opinion.
Next Door is an AMP member. If you guys don't know what AMP is, that is Kai Cenat's group.
That's the problem. Kai Cenat shouldn't have a group.
Kai Cenat joined the group before he became this huge mega streaming machine. This dude knows nothing about what he's talking about. He's just saying a hot take because he's on a podcast.
That's how they got on.
Yeah. Having a team and making it with your team is very important. But if there are problematic people in there, kick them out immediately.
But you gotta know when you are the one, like he is the one. I get it.
So he should have banned.
Kai Cenat's not even the leader of AMP though. That's the problem. That's the point. He's not even the leader of AMP.
And then everybody.
Yes.
He did not do this alone. Like there was a journey of a camp of them.
They came together.
And I agree. Like this problematic person, this person that was underage girls, he has to go. Like, bye, we're never speaking to you, cut ties.
Now that we are here and it's the second, third, however many times something like this has happened, what does he do moving forward? Because now it can't keep happening. You have to insulate yourself, because at the end of the day, that group doesn't mean anything without him.
That is cap, because everyone actually grew themselves before they were in.
Literally, without Kai Cenat, they would still be doing good because they still have Phantom and Duke Dennis and Agent. Literally the most 3 popular in that group, besides Kai Cenat. You have Duke Dennis. The Duke Dennis glaze is never going to end, like, no matter what. Phantom's just kind of hella funny, and then Agent is off doing his own thing, collabing with other popular streamers and YouTubers.
AMP. That's why it works so well as a group, because everyone had their own platform before joining, except for Chris. He kind of created his platform after, but he was still pretty known. But this guy just knows nothing about what he's talking about, and this is my problem with so many of these podcasts. Like, if you're gonna put out a statement on any current topic, you got to do the research to back it up. You're gonna end up looking like an idiot. You can't just go in willy-nilly on something that you know nothing about. That's why a lot of bigger podcasts like Joe Rogan have someone who can fact check, which is Jamie on his podcast. And if you can't afford someone to be in that spot, you should just look it up yourself before you put out this idiotic take on something you know nothing about. Like, there's a difference between a hot take and just a bad and uneducated take. And this right here is what I consider an uneducated take, because he just lacks the knowledge on what he's talking about. I like how some people on the podcast are like trying to tell him, like, yo, it's not like this, it's kind of like this, but he just doesn't want to listen. He just decides to be ignorant. I swear some people just get a mic in their face and their brains just go to mush. They don't know what they're talking about. I
sincerely do hope, bro, that when I start my podcast, of course I know I'm gonna have my research on that, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be able to dip everything, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do everything the right way to make sure that, you know, my podcast would be factually correct and I know what I'm talking about.
Dude the other day talking about how you need to stop wearing Nike socks with shoes for no reason at all, just because he said so.
Stop wearing Nike socks with shoes, bro, or a designer shoe. Even if you wear Nike socks with some Air Force Ones, just stop doing that, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I just can't see nobody wear no Nike socks.
What the fuck is this nigga talking about? Is he saying you shouldn't wear socks with shoes? Is he saying you shouldn't wear certain socks with shoes? I'm not gonna lie, bro. Get this nigga. What are you talking about?
With a pair of shoes, bro. Like, what are you doing? I think that's crazy.
What do your socks have to do with anything on your fit? I understand if somebody says stop wearing a Nike shirt with Adidas pants, like, that does kind of make sense, but stop wearing Nike socks with shoes? Why? Why don't you tell us why? Why? I think people got to realize it's fine to have conversations without them being recorded, you know? We need to start stripping cameras and microphones away from society. Everyone has a voice, but not everyone's voice needs to be heard. And since this is a video about podcasts, there's another thing I got to get on my chest, bro. Alpha Male Podcast. This podcast format honestly just needs to retire, bro. Like, when I tell you, these podcasts are one of the worst things to ever hit the internet.
Look at all. Hold on. Look at all these bots, bro. Look at all these bots. Not bots. Bots. B-O-T. Every single one of them are bots. I'm not gonna lie.
Retire, bro. Like, when I tell you, these podcasts.
Look at all these bots, bro. Girl in the left. She can't think for herself. He can't think for himself. He can't think for himself. She can't think for herself. And she can't think for herself. Y'all can call that whatever y'all want. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Literally, the only reason these alpha male podcasts are a thing is because of a man named Andrew Tate. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I'm not about to speak more on him just because I know how YouTube is about that, but he is the reason why these alpha male podcasts are a thing. That's it. That's quite plain and simple. He is the reason why they're a thing.
Podcasts are one of the worst.
However, he is not the reason why they became the way it is now.
Things to ever hit the internet, because after these podcasts hit, all people would argue about is who was worse, women or men. I hate this whole argument because
that was like a whole segment of like women talking about they want a high value man and the man who already has success, blah 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 blah, this that the third. Then you have men who want to argue back saying, well, I want a woman who's younger, don't have that much mileage in her tank, you know what I'm saying, cooks, clean, does laundry, you know what I'm saying, stays at home all day, doesn't cheat, doesn't do any of that, you know, X, Y, and Z. Cool, but why are you trying to make society argue that point just because you disagree with someone?
Can we all just agree that men do bad things and so do women? Men lie and women lie. Are we done now? Like, I hate this whole format of podcasts. But yeah, not everyone should have a podcast. Don't just think because you have one good conversation with your homie that you now need this full Joe Rogan podcast setup. No, you don't need that at all. You don't even need a podcast, bro. What you need is a muzzle. But all that being said, this is gonna wrap up the video. If you guys made this far, I appreciate you.
All right, YouTube. Hey, signing off again. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoyed, go ahead and give a like, comment, subscribe, leave some comments down below, and go ahead and leave me some something that you want to see me react to, want to do. Honestly, I think I'm about to start getting into streaming a lot more. I've been thinking, because I've been playing a lot more Rivals, honestly, and it's like, man, I should probably just stream this instead of like just playing it, you know, like whenever I have time. Like, I really should just start streaming it and like end up getting into more of like a talking Twitch, and like, you know, just streaming, because honestly it's just fun. Like, I could just sit there and stream, play some Rivals, get done with that, play some I don't know, whatever game I feel like playing that same thing, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead and tune in. I'm gonna start putting my once I finally start getting more into the Twitch and start doing it a lot more, then I'll start putting my Twitch links down below or inside my profile, so y'all can go ahead and click on that. Y'all can go ahead and hit that bell so you know when I'm streaming, so you can go ahead and get the best immersive experience there is. But with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a good rest of your day, good night wherever you're watching this. Hope you have a good morning and whatnot. With that being said, peace.